Wow, what an intro. When he was saying wisdom, I was like, I think he's got the wrong guy. So, but thanks for the warm welcome. It's really amazing to be here and see everybody. It's going to be a fun day. I'd like to start off by thanking the Best Hour team for sponsoring this, and let's give them a huge round of applause. I've gotten to reconnect with a lot of people I knew and meet a lot of people I don't know, so it's been a whirlwind of, I think I'm in week 9, so I'm a veteran now. But I think actually one of the things I've learned that there are so many great partners out there. And I was fortunate enough to be up in Washington State and worked out at CrossFit HYROX, which is owned by Case and Annalise DeVries. And I worked out, we went inside coffee, and I'm like, tell me about what's going on. And one of the things they talked about, which was amazing, is they started their box a couple years ago. They're at 175 members. It's a beautiful facility. They built it. And they're like, hey man, one of the most pivotal things for us is working with the Best Hour team. And they just talked about how helpful that was, staying focused on and in the business, and then the network of other affiliate owners that they have and that they rely on a lot. And I thought it was, what an amazing testament. So that's my firsthand experience with the Best Hour team through affiliates that are super cool. And so I wanted to thank you all for that. It's really, really cool. So I wanted to have Jason Fernandez Fern come on up, and we're gonna have a little discussion, I think. Which side do you want?
Whatever side you want. You're the boss. Thank you. I want to reiterate what Jay said is I'm still a box owner, and thank you guys for being here this weekend, spending time away from the gym, away from your families. So I know that, I think I can speak for Bruce and the team, that doesn't go unnoticed by HQ, the team and everything, because everything starts in the affiliate. So everything has to start at the affiliate level, athletes, coaches, everything. So you guys are the heart and soul of that, and will always be in my mind. So when we had the opportunity to do this, I was like, hey, let's just do a Q&A. It's been a relatively uneventful 5 or 6 years. So I was like, let's see what Bruce has to say and spice it up. So first question is, who's gonna get fired first, and why is it gonna be Jay DeCoons?
Jay failed to mention all my other virtues in his intro, so 10 demerits.
No, but I did want to ask you, so you are no stranger to being in the CrossFit space, and I'm genuinely curious. You and I have had a little bit of opportunity to talk, but what's it like now sitting in the seat and getting to kind of come in and kind of cast your vision?
Yeah, I think, I'm here probably because the same reasons most everybody else is here. I think that what we do and the mission that we deliver is amazing and truly changing the world, life-changing. And I think that coming back into it, that mission, the methodology of CrossFit, and the kind of the responsibility or the opportunity to change human capability is phenomenal. And so none of that's changed. What's changed is, I think, we'll probably unlock a lot of this stuff, but I think that focus, and what is our mission? On the HQ side, what is our mission as a bigger community? And I think really learning that, it's been, really amazing, and man, there's a lot of opportunity. And so I think, to be fair, like I haven't even talked to the company yet about what I think the opportunities are. So you guys are learning, which is probably a little unfair, but it's all part of the process. So we'll get into it, but there's a lot of things that are the same, that are great, and a lot of things that we probably need to refocus on.
That's a good kicking off point. So obviously you've been in the company, you've been an affiliate owner. If we could just say, in your time in both seats, what do you think are some things that HQ might misunderstand about affiliate owners, and then vice versa? What do affiliate owners maybe misunderstand about HQ, the relationship, or you can kind of go wherever you want with that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that fundamentally the relationship between HQ and affiliates is a partnership. And I think that we each have parts of that partnership that we need to deliver. I'm going to oversimplify it, but I think it's good to be focused. I think HQ's responsibility is twofold. We need to make sure that we deliver the best tools and training to be the foremost authority in the world on health and fitness, period. The second part is we need to amplify that message. And I think there's all these nuances when you talk about those two responsibilities that we'll probably get into, or we can. But I think when you think about, there's a finite difference between advertising, which is telling, and media, which is showing. And we're shifting from advertising back to showing. That'll take a little bit of time, but we are already rolling on that mission. And I think there's a whole bunch of pieces underneath that that are really, really important. So Nicole Carroll, who's sitting over here, I'm embarrassing her. She's spent the last couple months working really hard on defining the brand. And brand is a really interesting term, right? And some people are like, why would you spend a bunch of time on the brand? Because I think when you don't, or you aren't super clear on what the brand represents, and the brand is for us, the community, and what we do in the world, you sway, you get off course. And so in my mind, it's the foundation of everything we got to do. And I know it kind of feels like an esoteric term, but it's very practical. What education should we do or not do? What business things should we be involved in or not involved in? What sponsors should we represent the community with? The way I look about things like brand is we all own the brand. It is who we are. And when we do things that are great and support the brand, it creates brand value and brand equity. When we don't, it hurts, it takes away equity. And those are these terms, right? But we'll dig into it where we want to go. But I think that's it. So that's the first part of partnership, kind of amplifying the message, education and training. I think the affiliate side of the partnership is delivering the best coaching and interaction possible. It's about the coach class is what we do. That's how we deliver the methodology. The second part is creating community. And when you do great coaching, you generally have great community, and that's what your responsibility is. So together, that is CrossFit, and that is brand value, and that is brand equity. And candidly, I think, again, with no malicious intent, because I say things like this and people are like, what do you mean? But with no malicious intent, I think we got way off track. I think we haven't been the best partners at HQ for the last 5 or 6 years. And I think that's where we got to course correct. I think, in my mind, those concepts are pretty simple. But I think doing simple means virtuosity, right? Doing the simple thing exceptionally well. And I think being super focused on what we deliver is really important.
So
I rambled on for a while on that.
You're the boss. You can say whatever you want. So I think staying on the topic of focus is important, and this is something every entrepreneur has to go through. This, nobody's immune to this, but like keeping the main thing the main thing. What does that look like in your mind operationally for the company in order to make good on that vision?
Yeah, I think it goes back to what we were just talking about. It's about focus and being pretty unrelenting around that. And also saying no to a lot of stuff. And that's where it's hard, because a lot of us, we're humans, we have an idea we think's great, and we think that's the most important idea. And it's not that a lot of the ideas are bad, it's what creates the most value. And so I think we have to be really, really focused on what that is. And that's gonna mean saying no to a lot of things. And that'll be controversial. Just because if you're really opinionated about something and we say no to that, it's like, what? You suck.
well, then let's get into the controversy. So with regard to saying no to things, what do you think are some of the things that HQ needs to say no to in order to keep focus on the things that are going to be most valuable long-term, obviously for the company, but for affiliates as well?
This is where I got myself in trouble. I'm going to give a broad answer and then a narrow answer. I think that I'm going to go back to the work around brand. I think the understanding the brand will make those decisions much easier. and putting it through that brand filter. And I think that's why that's so important. But I think specifically, I think anything that doesn't support the mission that I just talked about and the partnership specifically, we have to be super critical about. And, you know, I think I'm going to say things that'll be, it kind of sounds like I'm talking out both sides of my mouth here, but I think it's important. I think partnerships are the future of CrossFit. When Greg and a bunch of people, me included, kind of talked about that way, way, way back, it was in the era of, I mean, I'm really going to date myself. Google was just starting to be something, and Unix was the operating system, and half of you were like, what are you talking about? But the concepts were, you know, create a community where shared responsibility and shared opportunity is the main thing, right? And I think for a lot of different reasons, we've become less about an open source community and more about isolationism. And I think that comes for a whole bunch of reasons. I could spend a bunch of time, we can get into that too as well, but I think that it's really important to open that back up. And I think there are things we shouldn't do because they aren't in direct support of the mission. Here, I'll be controversial or not, you'll love this.
Yeah, let's go.
I think that a lot of people say we need business management help. Do I think we could do that? Yeah. I think we could do that if we deliver on everything else first. But also there are amazing partners in the space like you and your team that do that really well. And so like, you know, that's where it gets, I don't know, controversial, but I think people have strong opinions about it. I should deliver business, or HQ should deliver business training. Yeah, maybe, but also there are a lot of great partners in the space all over the world that can help with that. And the more focused we are on delivering, amplifying media and the stories that change the perception of CrossFit to the world, then maybe then we can talk about business. But I'd rather just partner with these guys and other people that do a great job. So those are the really tough decisions, and it's my mindset is around we get better if the community gets bigger and we partner with more people. And I'm great with the community getting bigger. That's the mission. And I'm great with people actually making a good living off doing a great thing for the community. And I kind of have the confidence in the community that they're going to filter out the bad actors, because there will be some. But I think that's it. So I think staying super focused on the mission is really important.
Kind of going back to brand, talking about media and the storytelling, what does that look like? Where do you think, if you could give even maybe some tangible examples of how that media and how that communication is going to shift moving forward and what you envision for that? Because I know everybody here probably has questions about media and how are we going to communicate the brand and how is that going to help affiliates and all that stuff. But what is that? Can you speak more to that?
I think CrossFit, the community, the global community does not have a demand problem. We have a perception problem. And so how do we fix that perception problem? We stop telling people what CrossFit is. We start showing them. I said that earlier. What does that mean specifically? It means showing the transformation of humans in your boxes. And it means highlighting the education and training that is the CrossFit methodology and everything close to that. Because that's what differentiates us. I have been in a bunch of other fitness. Other fitness is a single modality delivered through a business lens. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people are really successful with that. That's not what we're about. I mean, ultimately, we all have businesses, and that's an important part of what we do. But we're about changing human capability. And I think when people, we know, right? When people unlock that, they're like, man, this is different. You know, it is life-changing, and it's actually making the world a better place. And I know there's a big aspirational things, but it's a difference. And so when we show, not tell people that's what we do, people will come in droves. And so that's our responsibility on the partnership side. How does that manifest? I think it manifests in a ton of different ways in terms of like what content do we show. And I think we should always try different things because some things will resonate and some things won't. But fundamentally about our methodology and what it does, and that it's for anyone, not for everyone. So if you're ready to do some hard work and change your life, we're here for you.
I couldn't agree with that more. I think you and I talked about this at length, and and for affiliate owners, like going back to showing the outcome, and I agree that we've kind of gotten in a silo and we're kind of talking about CrossFit all the time instead of showing like what does CrossFit get people when they do CrossFit. Raise your hand here if you've had your life changed by CrossFit or you have a member who's had their life changed by CrossFit. That's, yeah, 148%. So that is kind of what I have always envisioned for that, and it makes me feel very good that that's kind of the storytelling that is going to be happening, because there's no shortage of it. Like, it's not hard to find. Like, any of you could walk into your affiliate and go find a story that would be worth telling. So if we fast forward out 3 years, I'll ask the question 2 ways and you kind of answer it however you want. And we say, hey, we've kind of checked the box. We've done the things that we want to do. What would that look like? Or I'll ask the first time I asked you this, which is, how would this be a failure?
Oh man, the second one's daunting. I think I'll be honest, I think if we keep doing things the way we've been doing, we're in risk of that being a failure. And so the one thing I know is we can't keep doing things the same. And the world's changed, right? So we have to do things differently. To get to the positive side, which is why I'm here, and this is what we're gonna do, in 3 years, you guys are all incredibly proud to be a part of this community. And we're all proud of it. And I think that delivery is everything, and that is the test. That's my test. That's what I'm accountable for in the greater team. I keep looking at Nicole, I'm like, am I good, Nicole, or am I bad? But I think that that's fundamentally it. I think you're really proud to be a part of what we are. You're proud to have, the name CrossFit isn't a detriment. You don't have to explain what CrossFit is. You don't have to defend it. We are the authority in the world in health and fitness. And I think in 3 years, we'll 100% reclaim that. So I think then you're proud to be a part of the community, which you are today, but there are pieces you aren't. And I think that's the mission. That's what we have to deliver. So
on that note, it's, this kind of bleeds over into this question that a lot of people have. And I think sometimes it can be a valid question. It's just like, what is the value of affiliation? And then how does CrossFit start to, with the broader community inside of CrossFit, but then more importantly, I think outside of that, start to garner trust with people that are on the fence about starting CrossFit. They're like, hey, seems like it's working. I know a lot of people that do it, but like, I'm scared. How does CrossFit start to kind of marry those two ideas, building trust back in with the community, but then how do we bring in more people, right? Because you said it earlier, there's no shortage of people that need what we have to offer.
Yeah, like I think the value of affiliation is being part of something bigger. And I think that that's why my mind goes to, when we think about how the company needs to pivot, it's to be way more inclusive, because that creates a much bigger community and that creates value. So I think every year, the great thing is you guys all get to vote, whether you want to stay an affiliate or not. And I think that's a really important point in time. Like, are you getting value out of that or not? And if you're not, you vote to leave. And I think that's okay. Like, that's the purest test of what we do. But I think when you see value and increasing value, you'll want to be a part of that community. I also go back to opening things up and partnering with way more people is really, really important. And I was in this fascinating discussion last night with the Affiliate Council, and just to give them a plug, they are amazing individuals. So if you have questions, I just ruined the rest of their week. Talk to them, because they are a truly amazing group of people. And we got in this really interesting discussion about, or I did, they had to listen to me, about the whole concept of truly open source. Like, we get into these modes of this is the way we can do it, and that's the only way we can deliver value. And I was thinking, we were talking about software development. You get into this mode where you have to build it, you have to own it. Why? I mean, I guarantee we have tens of thousands of amazing developers in the greater community that can help us build great tools. So if you come from a mindset of curiosity and like, man, how can we do this different? And how do we leverage the greater community? It starts to open up a lot of doors. So I think if it's just HQ trying to do the HQ thing, I think you just really limit your capability. And I think that's the mission. And so I've talked to over 250 affiliates, probably a few of you, in the last 10 weeks. And man, there's so many good things happening. So I think that's how you create value. That's how you make it worthwhile to stay an affiliate or become an affiliate.
What I kind of hear you saying is, and this is my words, not yours, but when I think about owning my affiliate for almost 18 years and talking about being open source, I think like the good old days, right? Like, hey, when all the gyms got together all the time, and we did the open together at different gyms, and we had all of the education partners, and it was truly, I think in my mind, a community that was not of a scarcity mindset, just wanted to learn, just wanted to get better. And it sounds like that is kind of a shift back in that general direction, because we're not going to solve the problem ourselves.
Yeah, no way. I think that when you look at the greater world out there, I think there's so much room in the world to actually address chronic disease and so many opportunities. People ask me about what are you concerned about? Are you concerned about this competitor or not? Man, the competition is chronic disease, and I don't want to be cliche about it, but there are hundreds of millions of people that could use our help. And so there is plenty of opportunity for everybody. And we've actually done a bunch of research realistically, and there's 10 million people, roughly 10 million people in the US alone that are very interested in CrossFit, but they just are unsure of taking that next step. And so you probably deal with it every single day. And so as we become really strong in education and training and the voices around health and becoming the authority again, that changes that narrative. So again, we don't have a demand problem, we have a perception and narrative problem. And you're gonna hear from a lot of folks over the next 2 days who are doing amazing things in the space. So I think I know it sounds a little esoteric, like opening up the community again, but that's what we gotta do. And I think when we do that, a lot of the solutions and a lot of the value comes back to us.
So with that, there's probably two camps within the CrossFit space when we think about competitors like HYROX, and Xenon's not a competitor, but like, I think some people are maybe a little standoffish with things like HYROX, and then there's another group of people that have, raise your hand if you've teach HYROX in your affiliate or have yes, it's like a decent amount. Where do you kind of see things like that in our industry? Good, bad, indifferent?
Yeah, I think that I think they're all amazing portals. And what I mean by a portal is a way to access groups of people. When I look at HYROX, and I've met the HYROX founders, and they're really cool people, and they are doing amazing things. They're focused on experiences.
It started in CrossFit.
100%. And they're incredibly respectful of CrossFit, what CrossFit has done, what the CrossFit community has. And in my mind, that's the perfect example of plenty, meaning there's plenty for everybody. I think the important thing in there is not chasing a trend. And HYROX, it might not be a trend. I think it's a really cool expression of an experience that you can do with your friends. And so for me, I think it's exactly what we want to be a part of, because the CrossFit methodology and what we build, remember, is general physical preparedness. It allows you to express your fitness in any way you want. If you want to go do a HYROX race with your friends, far out. I think or you want to go rock climbing, or you want to do motocross, or whatever you want to do, you're ready to do that. That's what we are, right? We are the foundational bedrock of human capability and GPP. And so we have to be proud about that, and we have to embrace new portals like HYROX as a great way to get a bunch more people to come try CrossFit. Because then you can do HYROX, you can get better at HYROX, you can go run a marathon, you can lift weights, you can do whatever you want to do. And you should probably do all of that over time. So I think that's it. I'm going to take the other end of the spectrum is GLP-1s. And a lot of people kind of give me shit about this, but GLP-1s are an even bigger portal. I think the numbers are like 25 million Americans are going to go on GLP-1s, and in Europe as well.
I think the recent numbers that I saw are 1 in 8 Americans.
1 in 8. So in my mind, you can look at GLP-1s as this cheat that pharma has provided. In my mind, it's totally different. It's a portal that allows people who are sick of being sick to take a different path. And by the way, it's not, if you go through the process of getting on GLP-1s, it's not easy. It's easier, unfortunately, but And it's really important that you change your behaviors, you change your lifestyle. There's a lot of physical things you have to understand that you're gonna go through. And I think, man, what could be, I don't know of a better portal for us as CrossFit in terms of these millions of people that need exercise methodology, but even more importantly, they need a community. I mean, it's like addiction recovery, right? When you enter that space and you find a community, and by the way, it happens to change your mind and your body, man, that's everything. So when I think we can get really weird about, what about this trend? What about HYROX? I don't like GLP-1s, man. I think it's exactly the opportunity we have, and in the millions of people. So again, as we get very focused on delivering what our partnership needs to deliver, we get great at that. As we start showing people what CrossFit does, we get great at that. Again, we do not have a demand problem, we have a perception problem, and we're all part of fixing that.
So with that perception problem, if we're talking about that, just how do you, in your mind, how do we win that narrative? Like, how do we start to either reframe either the competition or how we don't like things? And in my mind, I look at all of those things as like a bridge to CrossFit. So not a perfect analogy, but use supplements versus GLP-1s. Like, we would all prefer that people would eat whole foods and do all of that. However, how many of you guys started eating whole foods? How many of you started with supplements first? Most of you started with supplements. You guys lied, right? Most of you started with supplement, and it's not that supplements are bad, and the same thing for GLP-1s. They're not the end-all be-all, just like supplements are not the end-all be-all. But if we demonize them instead of looking at them as a bridge and say, hey, you're probably going to start with supplements. Eventually, I'm going to get you to eat broccoli, but we'll start with the protein, and then we'll add the behaviors in on top of that. And I think just looking at those things as a bridge to come over to our side is a much better, strategy for that. Because, like, again, to your point, like, I think there's something to the tune of, like, in the next 3 years, like, I forgot what the numbers, like 80 million people are gonna walk into a gym due to GLP-1s. Like,
For sure.
It's a huge number of people, right? It's like,
Yep.
They need weight training, they need better habits. Turns out we're pretty good at both of those things. Switching gears just a little bit, I had some questions from some of the affiliates about, IP protection, brand protection. Do you have any plans there, any changes, any things you want to talk to the community about with regards to just kind of like affiliation and how you guys are going to protect the brand?
Yeah, we're not going to protect the brand.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding.
That's a bummer.
I think that everyone's like, what? Yeah, so I'm going to go back really quick, do a quick rewind.
Yep.
We have deliverables on our share of the partnership, and we will get great at that. As we do that, I want to invite a lot of people back into the community that really love the CrossFit methodology, love the community. They felt like HQ abandoned them. I'm going to use that. And I think we want to get them back in the community. I don't know how long that takes. A year and a half? I don't know. We'll figure it out pretty well. And then it's really, really important to me that we do two things. We, as a community, enforce the standards around coaching. We need to create better tools that make it easier to do things like CEUs at multiple levels, so you're learning about things that are important to you, not just retaking a course, but I also think the fundamental level courses are phenomenal. That is our standard, that is our hallmark, and that's what we have to do. I think making that an incredible part of, or a very important part of what we require is essential. And everything we can do with other partners to enhance that coach experience, right? And so we deliver amazing coaching. When we get to that point, very quickly after, we need to enforce our IP. Meaning if you don't want to play, you don't want to have great coaching standards, you can't be a part of this. And at that point, my plan is the value of being an affiliate will be so strong, people will hopefully love to do that. Some people won't, and that's okay. But I think the thing we're going to do is we're going to build this massive global community that has incredible value. You're going to want to be a part of it. And to be a part of it, you're going to have to play the game that everybody else knows is important, because that game is supporting highest level of coaching and supporting the community as a member of the community. So I'm going to simplify that down. We need to get our act together. We'll do that quickly. When we deliver that and we deliver that methodology and that level, we will enforce the IP. So you guys that are all currently active affiliates, you deserve that. And that's really important to me.
I've always thought that the road to success for the whole community is through the seminar staff. Meaning like everybody's got to go through that cohort of people. Every affiliate owner had to sit for their level 1. And when you think about enforcement of standards, I know maybe at least one person here jumped to some sort of quality assurance or something along those lines. I don't necessarily buy fully into that, but like what does that look like with regard to, is that more just like showing people what great looks like, or is it saying, hey, like there's a minimum standard here if you want to be on the team, and if you're not going to meet that, then maybe this isn't for you?
This is where you get into the tricky legal stuff, right?
Yeah.
So we're a licensed organization. It's important to understand what that means. What it means is we can set the standards of what it looks like to be able to have a license, which is your CrossFit affiliation. We can't police it. That's franchise. Mm-hmm. And I don't think a lot of people in here would want to go down the franchise route. Maybe I'm wrong. I've heard it called the F word. But I think that it's an important distinction. And I think the way you set the standard is the community sets the standard. And if you don't want to play to that level of standard and certification, that's why, I mean, that's a crazy thing. That's why when you think about the level 1 and level 2 certifications, you can view it as and I think this is what happens when our relationship becomes transactional. You view it as a burden. One more thing I got to pay money for. When there's value in what we do globally, the certification becomes the barrier to bad actors. And the certification less itself, the quality of coaching that demands. And so when I think of the seminar staff, they are the deliverables, they are the deliverers of that standard. And as we propagate content around those levels of standards for coaching, that becomes the standard, right? So in my mind, it's always better to have a push, rather have a pull rather than a push. A push means you have to enforce stuff. We won't because we're a licensed business. And B, the value creation is creating the value of that, of high levels of coaching, right?
Yeah, I think that distinction is important. It's just not doable. And I think, you know, if you think like the honey versus vinegar, like just make the brand really sticky and then you won't have to worry about it. Like everybody wants to be on the team instead of having to convince people on the team. No different than what we have to do inside of the affiliate. Like make a great affiliate, people want to be a part of it, and then you won't have to verbal judo them into buying membership. 2 more questions, and then we're going to open it up to the audience here. One, there's this idea of this nebulous, you know, we'll call it maybe the boogeyman. That's my term, but like the board, right? What is your relationship with the board? Some people have had concerns about that, not just with you, but just generally in the community broadly. Can you speak to that? You know, how much do they guide your decision making? How do you approach that relationship, and how do you think about your job as a CEO and how you think about guiding the company and managing that relationship?
Can I not answer that?
I said you can say it.
No, I'm totally kidding.
No.
It's a great question, and I think it's out there, right? Of course it's out there. I think that a board's role is to help guide the company for the investors that own the company. And that's true anything. By the way, you are probably all boards of your companies, and you may have investors that are partners and everything, right? So it's the same concept. I think with CrossFit, the owners and the board and the investors have been as frustrated as all of you in the last 5 years, 5 or 6 years. Like, why is this iconic brand that we became a part of not growing and not getting bigger? So I think they share the same frustrations. To be candid, my discussions with the owners were, I have a bunch of parameters that I'm going to come back for or not. And if you want to flip this thing, I don't want to have anything to do with it. And so there were some things we actually set up that were structural that made that true, just to be super candid.
So just to be clear on that, like part of your stipulation for taking the job was like, I'm not taking this job if you plan on flipping this and selling it in the next few years.
100%. And I think that we just had my first board meeting, and you know, you put the big board deck together, you're ready to go, you practice. I'm more nervous for this than the board meeting, by the way. But I was nervous for the board meeting. And then I'm going to put her on the spot again. Nicole came to the exec section of the board meeting, and she talked about what we're doing on the brand. And we didn't get any further. That was it. And I think that for the board, it was like, oh man, okay, we get it. And I think that was for me, it was a pretty compelling moment of like, oh man, Nicole delivered what this brand was, and they heard it. And so how does that manifest in the future? I don't know. I'm not going to BS you. I think that, but I think they genuinely want to be a part of a great, iconic global movement. That's why they bought in. Practically, it's a really small investment for them. And so I think you got to look at things like that and be like, hey, what are the real indicators there? I think, so you'd be like, okay, what about the sale process and that whole process over the last year and a half? I think they got so frustrated, they're like, man, we should try to get out. And I think the catch-22 is like, the community will let you out when we create value. And I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek, but I think, I think that's practical around it. So I think, it's like you all have businesses as your boxes, and you all have a point in time where you may want to get out and sell it, and that's okay. But I think what drives that and kind of the fundamental underpinnings of why that happens is really, really important. Super important with this brand. So I know so far I have a really great relationship with the board, but I think part of it has been like, hey, I'm really willing to help, but I'm here to help. Like, I'm not here to flip it. And I think so far they've signed up for that. So I guess we'll see, but I really think genuinely that's what they're in for.
I lied, 2 more questions. One, biggest opportunity coming up in the next 12 to 18 months, and then biggest risk that you see leading the company?
Oh man, those are good questions. Biggest opportunity, really simple. Bring this global community back together. Open up the doors, partner with great players in many, many different ways, but really being focused on education and training and amplifying what we do. That's the biggest opportunity. Biggest risk, we don't do that. And I think that, to do that, again, in my mind, it's pretty clear what we need to do. I keep saying this, it's gonna be hard to do. I think there's momentum in the community and in the company that has to shift. And so that's gonna be a bumpy road. And I think that just being realistic, I've told a lot of people on the team, hey man, it's gonna be a bumpy road for the next year. But that's my charter, right? I really feel like I'm just part of the community, and my charter is a catalyst for change. And so I take that super seriously. And not everybody's gonna like the change, and I'm ready, I got my armor on. But it also is not gonna deter me from the mission, because the mission is massive. The opportunity for what we can do in the world is massive. And I'll be a little bit, I think this is really important to say. I think when you look at the world today, and this is the aspirational part of what's really important to me and part of being part of this community. I think you look at the world today, we have a bunch of big factors happening. The world is becoming more and more polarized, right? Everybody's in their camp. I think I feel that in the community a little bit, right? But certainly in the world. I think the world is getting sicker. Chronic disease is rampant. Millions of people are dying from chronic disease. And the other thing, which is an incredible gift and an incredible challenge, is technology is getting scarily effective with AI. And I think the great things around efficiency and knowledge and everything that comes out of AI is amazing. And it's one more thing that separates us as human beings. And further pushes away that human connection. So what do? We solve all that. Human connection, ability to come together as a community You can work out with people you have very different views on in your box, and you sweat and you make that change in your human capability and bringing the world back together. So I know that sounds kind of woo-woo, but man, that's what we're about.
I firmly believe that as AI becomes more prominent, human connection will become more and more important to people. More and more people will be seeking out communities, and I think that's both really good, and I think it's a risk
for sure
for affiliate owners, because I think affiliate owners will lean, you swing the pendulum too far. You'll lean too heavily into AI and forget that maybe you should just call the person. And I think that's something that we often balance, but really leaning into what no fitness community has done, and there's not even a close second place with regard to creating community. Like, it's just CrossFit, and then there's literally nobody else, in my opinion, when it comes to that. And I think there's a massive opportunity as people are becoming more siloed and feeling lonelier, the medical society talks about this a tremendous amount, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. And I think there's nothing but opportunity when it comes to that. If there's an affiliate owner who's on the fence, or somebody who's thinking about an affiliate or opening an affiliate, what would you tell them?
I would invite them to be a part of something huge. As we refocus this community on delivering what we deliver every day, and we amplify that, I just invite you to be a part of that community, because it's going to be amazing. It already is amazing for a lot of people that do it well, but it'll be much better. And as we all build that global community and be really focused on what we deliver, man, why wouldn't you be a part of it? But we got to deliver. Got to deliver.
And then one last thing before you guys, again, thank you, I appreciate it. I think everybody here appreciated it. If you guys didn't see, we believe in the affiliate model. So if you guys didn't see it, Best Hour is gonna pay for one affiliate owner's affiliate dues this year. So get in the raffle. We're gonna raffle that Saturday night at the affiliate owners gathering. So unless you just hate money, don't sign up. But if you do, then we're gonna give it to you. Thank you guys.
Thank y'all, appreciate it.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.